Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Good morning and welcome to Collaborative Connections radio show and podcast sponsored by KLM. We are broadcasting live from Phoenix Business RadioX studio inside Mac 6 in Tempe, Arizona. And I have some exciting guests on today that I'd love to jump in and introduce you to. So 3 guests. I'll ask you tell us your name and a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump right into the conversation. Our first guest is Jayashri Sarkar. Did I get that right?
You did. Fantastic.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. My name, again, Jayashri Picarick, and a little about me is I run a nonprofit organization called Happy Hooves, and we provide animal-assisted therapy and activities for those in need.
Oh, I love that. I can't wait to hear more. All right, Jay, I don't want to butcher your name, so I'm gonna have you say it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Kelly. My name is Jayashri Sarkar. I own Achievers Legacy with my husband. We provide air and water purification systems for residents and small businesses.
So nice to have you on. See, her beautiful accent says it way better than me. Thank you for being on today. All right, Irene Ploski, nice to have you on with me today.
Thanks, Kelly. It's exciting to be here today with Jay and Jesse, and you, of course. My name's Irene Ploski. I'm the owner of Independence Insurance Group in Phoenix, Arizona, and we help individuals and business owners find the right combination of insurance coverage and price.
Yes, you do. And you do a very good job. Well, I always... Each show is highlighting entrepreneurs, business owners who are doing amazing things in the community, along with other community members, other nonprofits that if we collaborate, we do better. We do better business. We grow our community together. So that's why I started the show. So I'm going to jump right into the why. I know this is going to be off the cuff, but I will love to hear your stories and your businesses because I want to definitely highlight those. But I like to know the background. I like to know why you got in the business, the why. What's your purpose? Why you started what you did. So off the cuff, Jesse, you get to go first.
All right. My why. Little of my background, I grew up in a dairy farm in Minnesota, so I've always been surrounded by animals, and I used to show cattle and every year go to the fair and show and train. And I've been in residential real estate for the past 18 years, but I'd say about 6 years ago, I was on a little vacation in New Orleans, and I bumped into this horse on Bourbon Street and changed my life. This little horse named Peter, I called him Pickles. The owner had left me with this horse for about a 45-minute stint to get more carrots, and I fell in love. And when I got back home, I had to have one, and the one had to have a friend, and now I have about 20 friends in my backyard. And they say when you follow your passion, you find your purpose, and just it evolved from having my pets in my backyard to collaborating with my neighbor to combining our space to do something bigger than we could ever do by ourselves.
Oh, I love that. What a cool thing. I love the backstories. See, that's why I like to ask the backstories of the why. Horses are my absolute favorite. I've done horse lessons with my daughter, which has been so fun. We grew up, riding horses on the, over here before it was all Tempe Lake. There used to be all the trails and stuff, right? So it's a huge passion of mine. So I'm excited to learn more. All right, Jay, you're up. What's the why? What's the backstory?
The backstory for Achievers Legacy actually comes from my background. I have a chemical engineering degree. I've worked in automotive industry creating catalysts for most of my professional life in a job environment. So when COVID hit, we saw a lot of things change. And what we saw was fear. Predominantly, there was a lot of fear of uncertainty. And both my husband and I, one thing we wanted to do was do something about it. We just didn't know what, but preferably something that our experience can bring value to. So we looked at the next 10 to 15 years, what is going to become a necessity? I don't know if you guys remember, I think New York Times, there were some publications that showed cities before and after COVID, and the air quality was so different, right? As things get back to normal, eventually they will, that is going to be our new normal, right? So making sure air and water that are essential for our lives, if you look at our body, right? 60%, 70% of our body is water. And we rarely pay attention to the quality of water we drink or the quality of air we breathe. So we wanted to do something about it, and we found products that could cater to that upcoming need. At the same time, it could also be at the cutting edge, so it's a long-term sustainable solution. So that became our passion, and we eventually found products that we could back with our credibility. And it has been a fun journey, listening to stories, understanding needs, and fulfilling them wherever we can.
Yeah, it's a need already, but most people, right, especially Americans, are not about prevention, right? After the fact, everybody goes, "Ooh, now I have cancer. Ooh, now I have this thing, asthma,
And
the things."
I think one of the biggest things for that, because biggest portion of our time goes in education. Anything we can see, if we see a cut or a bruise, we say, oh no, what happened? But if there is pain and everything looks normal, we're like, it'll go away. Something we cannot see, we cannot perceive very well. And pollutants in the air, we don't see them.
Unless you're in LA.
Yes, but understanding they exist, although we don't see them, and understanding that they do impact our health in the long run, I think that is the shift we need to go through as a community, as human race. So we understand how to leave this world a better place for the next generation, honestly.
Absolutely. That's what I keep saying. Please let me stay long enough. I can just make a better impact on humanity, right? a little bit, please.
Yes.
I love that. You're doing it, right? And taking something that, especially from the chemical engineering piece of it, to have that backing that we don't understand clearly, if we haven't been in that industry, to know what to even look for. Oh, Google reviews, or Amazon says these have 5 stars. I think I'll take that one, but
Yes.
it's not as important as getting the expertise from somebody who has that background.
Absolutely.
And I think that's true. The same thing for you, Irene, in the insurance industry. If you don't understand insurance, it feels a little overwhelming for, I'm sure, a lot of people personally and your business clients, right? Like, I don't know, just give me something that covers me, right?
Well, and you're right. I mean, there is a reason why insurance agents and brokers like myself need to be licensed. There are a lot of moving pieces. There are a lot of factors to be considered in every individual situation. And yes, you can do it yourself online, but how would you know if you're doing it right? So you can buy insurance, but that doesn't mean that you're insured. So there's a difference. Are you getting insurance because you're required to have insurance, or are you getting insurance to protect your assets, protect your company, your livelihood? And so the intention is different.
That's huge. Are you buying insurance, or are you getting insured? I think that needs to be your new tagline. I love that. Okay, Irene, back to my original question. What's the why? Right? What insurance, right? It's a huge, huge industry. What's the draw, or what's your why?
Well, when I was a little girl, I wanted to become an insurance agent. Said no one ever, right? I am originally from Mexico. And so when I migrated to Arizona, my first job was at an insurance agency. And the reason why I got the job is because I'm bilingual, so hablamos español. But I work for a particular company, the largest auto insurance company in the nation, for a number of years. And eventually I was recruited as a producer, we call it as an agent, at an independent agency. So going from an agency that can only sell one type of policy, one type of product for everybody. That's all they have to offer. And then becoming an independent agent, right? We represent many different insurance companies to look for the best option for each individual and each business owner. So that was eye-opening to me, is why would I be limiting myself offering just one product because it's the best known brand, but offering many products, I can serve people better. So I made that transition. Years down the road, I became the manager of that agency. And so I was in charge of 4 agents. And that's when it hit me. Holy moly, I'm running someone else's business. Maybe I can do this. As a manager, I made a series of errors and mistakes on a company that wasn't mine, because I didn't have the knowledge, right, at the time on what it took to run a business successfully. So they fired me. So then I partnered up with a friend of mine who owned an independent agency here in Tempe. And for a couple of years, I built a book of business under the agreement that when I was ready, I was going to go on my own. And so built a book of business for 2 years. And then I made the move and I started Independence Insurance Group in 2009. And so we've been helping individuals and business owners since. I now have a team. We run the business successfully this time. So a lot of lessons learned throughout the way.
Absolutely. I love how now it doesn't seem like this in the past, but at least and I don't know the number of years, it seems like there's more and more people that are willing to step out and step up and say, I have had failures. I have been fired. I have these things that have happened to me, which have shaped me
Absolutely.
to be where I am now. That's brave, right?
They are an opportunity for growth.
Absolutely. And you have to look at it that way. And it's the only way to be successful.
And be thankful for those opportunities, that present themselves, because without making those mistakes, I wouldn't have known what not to do now.
Yeah, I know.
That's a beautiful learning curve, though.
Yes.
I know we look at mistakes a certain way with a negative connotation to it. But if we did not make mistakes, how would we know what is right?
Exactly. That's a great point.
That comes from as you grow up and it's probably the way your parents tell you did that wrong. That was bad. Mm-hmm. Or if they were good and and they're learning, right? Like I'm still learning with mine. Yes. The way you say that was a mistake and here's how we fix it. You know,
I think there's a shift also just in general with social media in a way is how people present things and themselves. Like I feel there's a shift that's gone from the perfect Instagram photo to more of you see the vulnerability, the authenticity, the I'm human too, and the relatable person on LinkedIn of showing they're vulnerable, they're human, they've made mistakes, and look at where that person is. And usually you see the coaches, the Gary V's out there that are showing that underbelly that it's okay to try. It's okay if that didn't work out. It's bringing you closer to what will.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, and they're trying, Instagram is trying with the reels, right? You can't do it somewhere else and upload it. And they have all these changes, right? Me as the marketing expert, like, great, another change. I got to learn that again. But it is like a client of mine said the other day, are you saying real? You want me to be real or you want me to do reels? I'm like, well, both.
Right.
Right. I want you to be real. I want you to be authentically you. And show up how you want to be seen, and fully lean into that. It makes it makes a big difference. All right. I know we're talking all big things, which is I love. Tell me, I can't wait to hear what Happy Hooves is. So we're going to at least have some content in here, right? that tells us who you are and what you do.
Well, Happy Hooves started out about 3 years ago, and a little bit of my background, I've been running my own nonprofits kind of on the side of real estate for the past 16 years or so. The first nonprofit, actually, it kind of was a spinoff from a networking group I used to be in with Irene, actually. And one of our goals was to have a nonprofit to distinguish and differentiate ourselves for helping the community and being putting back into the community. And the crash happened. The networking group didn't. It dissolved, and I decided, you know what, I'm still going to take this idea on. So I did a nonprofit for 11 years for underprivileged children. did a gala every year. And after I rescued my first 2 horses, I thought it just became a natural evolution for me of turning the page, new chapter of my life. I dissolved my last nonprofit, started up Happy Hooves, and it began with site visits to nursing homes and memory care centers with autism and dementia. And it turned into something so much bigger, almost naturally, where when COVID hit, there was none of those visits happening anymore. So I kind of got a little stir crazy at home. So I've gone from 6 animals in 2020 in the fall to, God, I think I doubled. And so I kind of created what I call a community farm, where now it's gone from horses and donkeys to horses and donkeys and miniature cows and alpacas and a mini mule. And now we've even expanded to large breed horses where we've got a little bit of everything. And instead of, and God bless everyone who is out there doing site visits with their little horses to the memory care centers. But for me, that shift happened where I have more activities and sessions at my farm so people can really have an experience. Instead of me taking one animal to visit 20 people or 30 people, I can have 20 people come to visit 20 animals. And you get to see the different bonding time, the different affinities that people have with these different species that all have different personalities and who have experienced a lot of trauma themselves, where people who have had that trauma in their life, they can relate to different animals differently. And it's just the most beautiful thing to watch. So now I basically have my sessions at my property, and I don't like to get myself backed into a corner of, which groups do you serve? It could be someone with, again, I've had people with dementia and autism come. I've had people with PTSD. I've had people that have lost a loved one from suicide to just natural death that just need an outreach. So I encourage everyone to come if they feel that this might help. And I mentioned the community farm. It's also a place where if people are in the neighborhood and they don't have the means, either time, space, resources, they can come volunteer. I just had a call on my way here to come and be a part of the farm as much or as little as they want, just to get a chance to experience the healing and the energy of these beautiful animals.
And farm life.
And farm life, yeah. And when we recently put a guest house on the property as well. So it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that I also Airbnb that out. So now I live in North Phoenix off Greenway in the 51. So if people are visiting their loved ones at the hospital and they don't want to stay in a Radisson or a Marriott, they can stay in the farm and experience that additional healing as well.
It's huge. And for kids, it's through the roof. One of the best things I've seen for our kids. I found a farm because I'm always trying to take them to do random things in new places all the time. I found a farm up north, and they're like, "Really? We're gonna go stay on a farm?" I'm like, absolutely. We're going to do something different. They loved it. They're like, why do we have to leave? Mom, we have to have a farm. I'm like, yeah, convince your dad that we have to figure out a way to buy a farm in Tempe. Let's see. I'm not sure that's going to work. So we just continue to find these types of things to have, we don't have to create, just because we want it doesn't mean we have to create it ourselves.
Yeah. And what I like about what we've created is you're creating very deep, very meaningful relationships. We're not going to a huge zoo where you're feeding a giraffe, corn through a fence. You've got people there, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy throwing a big gala. I've got a lot of years of doing that, and that's fun. And that's a great way to fundraise, to support the nonprofit. But I much, much prefer when I've got small groups and you have these meaningful, impactful, longer lasting, deeper relationships Absolutely. With the people.
That goes to business, that goes to nonprofit, True. That goes in your life, right? Yep. The deeper we can have relationships with, the closer it just builds us all around, doesn't it? I think I would assume that's for you too, is building those, like you said, this is not a short-term business. It's not a short-term thing. This is a very long-term plan that we all need. It's just going to take a lot of convincing to get.
I think it takes a lot of education and awareness. Anything new, any social change, for example, requires a lot of awareness first before there's engagement. And I think we're still in that phase of awareness where understanding the impacts of living in a polluted environment. I don't know if most people are aware, but indoor air is 2 to 5 times more polluted than outside because the circulation isn't as good. It is. I don't know if anybody has seen recently weather. There's something on my desktop that pops up. Hey, high pollen, high ozone. Has anybody noticed that?
Yes.
Recently, it has gone up, and it is alarming to see how often it happens. I don't believe we have any control over it, except we can control the closed environment we are living in. Right? We cannot go back and change the ozone depletion just yet. It's going to be a long-term solution, right? So I think awareness is very, very important. A couple of areas where we have seen a lot of need, evident need, is people who suffer from allergies. Many times it's so hard for them to get a good night's sleep. And if they don't get a good night's sleep, their days are tired and they're dragging themselves. That's not worth it. A little bit of investment in the right places goes a long way in healing properly. Proper rest allows our body to heal and recover. So that I think is very, very important to understand. Another area is people who have pets. Many times pet owners develop allergies. They don't even know, right? Is it better to pop a pill versus just turn on an instrument that gives you a peaceful night of sleep? I would pick the second one, right? Because
No
that's
side effects.
no side effects, exactly. We've had clients who've been on allergy medication every single day to go using this for a month and getting off of medication completely.
What a cool impact.
Yeah.
Right? You start a business because, okay, I'm really good at this and this is a huge need. Now I need to educate people and inform them. And oh, by the way, look at the crazy cool impact of doing that.
Yes.
It is. I got chills when you said that because that's huge.
It's unbelievable. Sometimes people who have breathing issues, respiratory issues, they have to use pillows, maybe sleep on the couch or sleep on a chair just to be able to breathe so they can sleep. And that ends up with, they have to go to a chiropractor because they did not sleep right. They're hurting in their neck, their body. That's added medical cost we don't realize. I would rather invest in something now. So in the next 10, 15 years, I don't have to go through these painful experiences and lower my productivity.
Everyday normal productivity definitely causes, if you don't have sleep, if you have to go to the doctor, if you have to be on medication, that's huge. And we can control our internal environment.
We do.
Yeah, it's the same thing as, okay, I tell like we eat organic at home, right? Because we can control that. And if we go out, fine, we eat whatever. And, but you can at least control it at home.
Yes.
And so you're a piece of it. So you're at least helping for future later, for maybe hopefully, living longer. I can watch these kids grow up.
And living free. I think freedom is something we do not understand until we are restricted in doing something. Right? For example, if we don't have toothache, I don't think most of us think about, oh, I love that I have teeth. I can chew on anything. I can eat meat. We don't think that. The moment there's toothache, we think, oh, God, I don't want this anymore. Right? We don't appreciate the freedom a good night's sleep can bring to us in our healing, in what we do, the passion with which you work, in your nonprofit, and the insurance you provide. Right? You focus more on the client if you're not thinking about, oh, I didn't get a good night's sleep. And that, I think, is a huge, huge under-recognized aspect of our lives because we're living such busy lives. But I believe a little bit of slowing down to speed up will go a long way in healing overall human race in general.
Well, and taking more that proactive approach to the things that you can control and avoid in the future, versus having a reactionary approach and just waiting until something starts hurting or until you can no longer take it or until you're miserable and not sleeping before you make a change that just simply makes sense to do. I mean, it's an easy change, with huge long-term benefits.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing in insurance. If you're, especially as a business owner, right? A lot of our listeners and all of us are business owners. How do we protect ourselves ahead of time? How do we set ourselves up ahead of time so we don't do the thing, so we don't go afterwards.
Before something goes wrong, right?
Yeah. After the fact,
sorry, it's gonna be painful.
Yeah.
But and also the key is in my industry is how to do that, but within your budget, within what you can do now, and something that we do primarily with younger clients and business owners is they start at a certain level. So we help them find the right coverage and, at the right budget. And as their needs grow, as their companies grow, we grow with them. So it is our job to help identify what possible future risk they can come across.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that proactive approach towards the long-term life of their business.
And themselves. They're
themselves.
To protect them. And what a cool thing it is. Like you said, you saw the need. You see this huge, ginormous organization, corporation that you work for that can only sell these one lines of product. You go to an independent, you're like, yes,
we can do
that.
Thank
you.
Mm-hmm.
And to continue that then for your own agency. So tell us a little bit about the agency and what you offer, different than...
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to say the names.
So our agency is in Phoenix, Arizona. The majority of our business is in the state of Arizona, but we're licensed in other states as well. So we have a team. We help both English and Spanish speaker individuals and business owners find out the right solutions according to their needs. We like to have a proactive approach. So when an insurance company raises rates, for example, and you see the renewal notice, we reach out throughout the year. But when you get that renewal notice with that increase, well, we still have this bunch of other insurance companies and their products that we can offer. So we get to keep the relationship. But mainly we work for our clients. We don't work for the insurance companies that we represent. So we're not their employees. We work for our clients. And again, we grow as their needs grow, and we make any changes necessary as best as we can. But we just try to be proactive.
So if I'm understanding correctly from a layman's perspective, somebody who barely understands insurance. So what you're saying is you have these plethora of products.
Correct.
Right? And as rates change, different companies, based on their policies, will have different ranges, right? But if a customer's need is fulfilled better by a different policy or different company, you can switch that out and still keep maybe the same rate, same coverage, same benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's right, Jay. Thank you. Because and you bring up a great point, because there's always a way to make it cheaper. We don't make it cheaper, okay? And in the sense that we are not going to cut down coverages or your limits. We're not going to make it worse. On the contrary, we're gonna very carefully see what other options are out there, so we can keep your current coverage or better it. We're gonna tell you, hey, you don't have this, but your type of business or with your kind of personal assets, you should be looking at these options as well. And if they don't want to take the advice, then we will make sure that they remember, hey, there's this possible gap, there's this possible hole that you may encounter. So we don't just sell insurance, we're advisors.
I love that, because for business owners, small business owners, there's so many aspects to learn and take care of. But an insurance company like yours having the back of business owners and saying, hey, we got your blind spots.
Absolutely.
We can cover them for you. Even if you're not aware, I'm an advisor. This is what I do. So I watch out for what are the potential hazards, I think that's called.
Exactly. Yep.
Right?
Risk hazards. Yep. Very good. That's exactly it.
And if you don't mind me jumping in, I will say as a client of Irene's, and her having my insurance policies written for, God, over a decade now.
Easy.
We'll just say pre-horses.
Yes.
And as a testimonial of Irene and her organization growing with the customer and growing with her clients. I've gone from having no horses to 2 miniature horses to volunteers to underage to future. We're working on helping foster children. So having the policies, now I have a guest house. Now I have, and I keep growing and keep expanding. And Irene is right there. Okay, we need to add this umbrella policy. We have to add this liability. I don't know the words. This is where she can jump in and correct me in every which way. But it's been great knowing that I can call Irene and say, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm going to be doing next. So I tip her off. She gets to work on it. And I will say she worked hard on my policy. It was not easy, but she did it. She works for her customer.
What a wonderful example of bringing the community together. I know, Kelly, that is something you're very passionate about as well. And getting to do this on your show must be really gratifying for you.
It is. Why do you think I keep paying to do it? It is.
Lovely.
It is. It's important because if we don't have the people in our corners as business owners, we can't succeed.
Yes.
We need a team. Just because we're an entrepreneur, just because we're a business owner, doesn't mean that we can't have a team of advisors, a team of people in our corner that we can call on anything. If you just know, my insurance agent has my back. Got it. I don't even care what it says because I know you know my business and I know that you have me covered.
Right.
The same thing with anything. The same thing is like you've done the research on all the air purifiers and all the air, and all the water things. Why do I have to spend my time and
Precisely.
efforts?
Because when we were looking at air purifiers, for example, there are many out there, especially after COVID. There are many that came out. They just pushed out different qualities of products, right? And as a consumer, one of the things I know most people think about is, okay, this is an additional thing I have to buy. Let me find the cheapest, right? And unfortunately, many people capitalize on that instant need right away without understanding that what you're investing in, does it even serve the purpose that you are looking for? For example, when we were going through the research of what do we want to back, one of the things that was very important is integrity. Whoever the manufacturer is must have integrity because we value integrity in our business. I would not want to serve my customer just to make a sale. If there's a better product out there that meets their need, go for it. I wouldn't want to be treated any other way, right? So the point is, we don't do business for money. Money is a byproduct of the way we serve our people, our community. So when we were looking at air purifiers, one of the things that was absolutely important for us is to understand what gives an air purification unit a cutting edge, right? For example, ours has a 3-stage filtration system. A pre-filter that catches hair and lint and all of the big stuff. The second layer is a HEPA filter, and that's the star for particles, the airborne particles. Most HEPA filters, standard is 300 nanometers, 0.3 micrometers. Ours goes down to 2.4 nanometers, 300, 2.4, right? Big difference, which is 0.0024 microns. That is huge. Most viruses and bacteria can be eliminated from the air cycle if they're filtered through this filter, right? So the environment within the house definitely is cleaner. The third stage is a carbon filter. What does a carbon filter do? It absorbs smells, odors, right? Made from cooking. I love cooking. So if you're around my home when I'm cooking, it is amazing. But you don't want that amazing to be 24/7, right? So turning on the air filter as I'm cooking, it removes those odors as well, the oils, odors, right? So the carbon filter, and one of the biggest things is the furnishings we have indoors, over time, they do produce gases. We don't see them, we don't realize them, right? But the carbon filter catches it. And the best part is it's app operated, just like anything else nowadays, right? It monitors the filter life. it tells you when to change out the filter. Many times we forget. And if there's no indicator, we don't know how long the filters have been changed before. So it's not really doing the job it was designed to do. So having those little things built in, along with the design itself, makes a world of difference. And if to everybody who's listening to this, if you have air filters, please don't put them on your desks. Put them on the ground, because most of the heavy particles are closer to the floor than your desk. So put them on the ground, you'll see more benefit from the units you already have. But if you're looking for a cutting edge unit, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to us. And as I said, we don't do this for selling products. Our focus is to make sure whatever your need is met. And anybody who has allergies or who has respiratory issues, pets, please don't hesitate to ask, because you never know how it literally saves a life in the long run.
And I bet that technology must also be great for containing disease at home. So if a family member gets sick,
Absolutely.
I imagine it prevents for the other family members from catching that.
We used to actually sell to individuals. We started our partnership, not partnership, but we became a member of Tempe Chamber because we wanted to serve businesses as things were opening up. Many of us were hesitant to go
in an office environment, of course.
Yes.
Absolutely.
To make sure our workspaces are safe. They are not just safe. I know Daryl does a great job of cleaning down stuff after guests have come in. Besides that, if you can keep the air clean too, that's an added layer of protection, just like you talked about insurance, added layer of protection that you don't know how far it's defending you.
Mm-hmm. And having that coverage, right? Having that protection is huge in all aspects of our life.
Mm-hmm.
You have, Irene, tell all the lines you sell, all the different kinds of home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we do auto insurance, home insurance, umbrellas, insurance for rental properties as well. But we also do commercial insurance. So we can help business owners with their general liability, their professional liability, or malpractice, their commercial buildings, their commercial vehicles, their workers' compensation coverage. So we also have a health insurance specialist. We do life insurance. So we just work hard to find the right coverage, the right product for each individual, and what suits their needs better.
I love that. Look at the correlation of all of you guys, right? Finding the right product, finding the right people to serve, finding the right animals the variety of animals because one person is going to connect better with a horse and another one's going to connect better with the alpaca, I assume.
and with a particular horse, because that's really what makes the difference too, is we gravitate towards different animals for some reason. We establish different connections, just like we do with different people. We establish deeper connections with certain people versus others. So,
and you know what? It also adds that bit of introspection. When people come, I kind of tip them off, and when they have activities at our place, it's, as you mentioned, each animal, each species, each personality is different, but it makes people look inward as to why do they feel they connected with that animal? What was about that animal? And it's this exchange that's going on that they don't even know about until they stop and they're finished. And maybe it was this horse who was traumatized and is still going through that grieving of the abuse. Maybe it's this animal that just made them feel safe from its temperament. It's always very rewarding for me to hear how these animals are breaking through to people, and you learn something different every single time.
And at the same time, and at the same time, it's so cool because Happy Hooves goes both ways, because they are a rescue farm. The animals are rescue animals. So there's that incredible aspect of Happy Hooves, but also the therapeutic, the healing, the way that certain people cannot open with other people as well. For whatever reason, for whatever they have gone in their past through, that they can just connect with animals, and animals can bring that
emotions,
that emotion, and just that they're able to let their defenses down.
Because animals are
it's a type of meditation.
Yeah.
And animals are great listeners.
Yeah.
They are great
Absolutely.
listeners. And if there's somebody who can listen to us without reprimanding, judging, or not accepting us,
Yeah.
animals are
No
very
questions
accepting.
asked.
I think that is why the healing aspect of it
You know,
is
there's
so beautiful.
It just made me think of a quote. I think the quote is, I'll probably butcher this, but horses carry the healing, the wisdom of healing, if we are humble enough to listen to them.
Yes,
Mm.
And
absolutely.
it just resonates, all these different,
Mhm.
as you mentioned, different ways that they
And
can benefit.
everything in nature, this is something I've learned from my grandparents. I come from a family of farmers. Everything in nature is designed to serve. Everything, be it a plant, grass, animals, human beings, we are all designed to serve. And animals serve in silent ways. They don't speak, they don't do a lot of marketing, but they do serve in such silent but powerful ways. And what you talked about, people going through things, especially grief. Recently, I lost my mom. Having
So
that
sorry.
support where you can speak when you're not feeling like it. People around you saying it's okay, right? That means a lot. And the depth of that connection is unbelievable. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much. And I'm sorry about your mother. I recently lost my brother as well. And
Sorry
it's,
about that.
thank you. It's, these animals, they keep you going. I'm their steward and I have to keep going. And it becomes, I wish I wasn't part of the club, but, I can relate to people's grief now. And the sad reality is this world moves so fast that, unfortunately, the sympathy wanes a lot faster than the grief does. And it's just human nature right now. Everything is moving at the blink of an eye. What do we have? Less than a second to garnish people's attention now. So I
Oh my
kind
gosh,
of
attention.
flipped everything on its back
Yeah.
and saw a need of, from COVID and the rise in suicide rates and mental health. It's like, people need this escape. People need a break. People need to realign their priorities and get off the phones for a while. These kids can be taught everything from empathy to compassion to
Listening,
responsibility to
understanding,
relate.
important.
And I just unfortunately had to put a horse down the other day.
Oh.
And these people can connect to the animals in their environment in different ways. And dealing with consoling the other horse who lost its companion, and it kind of makes you really look inward.
Yes. And that is the essence of human life. If you think about it, if we are not thinking, reflecting, introspecting, we don't really know where we are headed. And after losing my mom, I went through a huge journey since then to realize when I lost her, I used to think, why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
Both my parents are gone. They are the only people I spent most of my life with. What's the purpose of me being here? But introspection changed how I looked, because grief never goes away. It's not a cut that's going to heal. It's a loss that will never be repaired. So the individual who lost has to learn to live with it and shift their perspective over time. And if we can, and what you're doing with your animal farm provides that support to nurture people, get through. Mine was grief, but there are different things people go through. Providing that long-term environment to allow the healing, I think that's remarkable.
Well, there's another quote that you made me think of by saying that. It's an analogy of a tree that, a tree with a branch cut off a tree, the wound may heal, but the limb has been lost.
It has been, yeah.
And you can't, and I'm going through something very similar. I felt lost. He was my coach, my mentor, my biggest cheerleader.
Aww.
And
you will carry that with your with the work you're doing, and that's you're very brave to share that. Thank you for trusting us enough to share it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, loss is around us all the time, and even more so in the last couple of years. It is, right? It's skyrocketed. So it makes us the silver lining is it makes us more empathetic. It makes us more compassionate of others because more of us have experienced
It
it.
should. Absolutely.
And that shared experience, I think, goes a long way in creating a better world. I can share a little bit from that journey. After I lost my mom, I had this, when I was talking to somebody going through allergies or going through this tough time dealing with their health, providing a solution, seeing them heal and recover, it was the most gratifying feeling on earth. And then on the other end, I would feel like I have no need to be here anymore. And I didn't want to feel that way. And I was thinking, what can I do to not be in this space long term? So I started thinking, one of my strengths is planning. Like, just plan. Whatever you left off before this happened, pick up the pieces, move on. And I started to put things together, and I designed a system for me that can keep me accountable even on the days I don't feel like it, especially on the days I don't feel like it. I honor the commitment and I see it through. And eventually, as I started sharing that journey with people, and I heard a need that what you're doing, if you could do something for people who are struggling with self-image issues, if you could do something for people who are struggling with, let's say they're new entrepreneurs and they don't know what to do and how to keep themselves accountable, if you could do something. And eventually that turned into a new business we launched 2 days ago, honoring my mom. That was her birthday.
Wow.
And coincidentally, Sunday was Father's Day. And being able to do that on such a special occasion, I think that was that goes a long way in understanding the power of human will. So the reason I shared it is I know it's difficult for you right now, but if you take the essence of who he was and put it in your work, you'll always keep him close to you.
You know, it's and I appreciate that very much. And it's just kind of going back to piggyback what you said about your mother and finding your purpose. And it's like you're following your passion and the purpose will follow. And we don't know what we don't know. And it's just, I find it always fascinating, the people that you bump into, there's no chance to that. There is something in deep meaning behind
There's
it all.
something
I
divine,
believe that
yeah?
too. Yes.
Yeah, it's this
It's
divine
not a
intervention.
coincidence.
No, no
definitely.
coincidence.
And I think we all owe
Definitely.
Kelly a big thank
Yes,
you,
Yes.
a sense of gratitude from the bottom of my heart for connecting
And,
us.
yeah, and how many more connections you've made, and over time, you doing this. I mean, from business connections to more deeper connections that happen so
Absolutely.
quickly yet are so powerful. So
It's such a cool platform to be able to do that, right? It leans on so many things. For me, was purposeful connections with other people. Obviously, it's a value add for a client, right? Because of course, my marketing brain says, "Yay, you get marketing, for you," right?
Certainly.
Of course, that's my brain. But in the overall big picture, I want this world to be better. I want our children to grow up to be better humans,
Absolutely.
and I raise them like that. So what better way to do this is to keep making their close circles, close range people who are going to help this world, air and keeping us protected. Insurance, having the equine therapy, having the therapy options, the community, the Airbnb, just the experience being on a farm, just that, like, why would I not continue to build these bridges together so that you guys can continue to do? I mean, that's the reason I started the business I did, because I want to give small businesses a fighting chance at success. How do I do that? How do I make an immediate impact? I'm going to connect
through
you.
collaboration.
I'm going to connect
through
you. I'm going to make
connections.
sure
Certainly.
you continue to have the referral sources and the people in your corner to succeed.
And if anything, life is just easier that way. Especially after what the world has gone through recently. It's just easier when you have partners and mentors and peers and friends and and most of my either business partners or clients, they become real close friends, trusted advisors for sure, but just close friends. And life is so much easier that way. And we all have the commonality that we believe that serving gives us purpose. And just like you said, Jay, money comes because of that. But when your intention initially is to connect, to heal, to fill an important health-related need, or to promote whatever professional service, if the intention is to serve, it makes the complete difference for the person that you're serving and for yourself, because it makes everything so much more rewarding.
It's much more human.
Much more human.
And I think you mentioned it earlier, Irene, you can always find it cheaper. You can go on Amazon, you can go online, but entrepreneurs and small business owners already wear enough hats. We don't, and when it comes to insurance, once I finish my meeting with you, I don't want to have to worry about it again. That's not my forte. Yeah. You're passionate about insurance, which is why you're doing what you do. I'm not passionate about insurance. So I want to hire the best and find someone who is passionate, who's got my back, so then we can go and have a cup of coffee, have lunch. I can go back and be the steward of the animals and the care and the maintenance and do my marketing and grow this operation. Yeah. And I don't have to turn around and worry about looking over my shoulder of what could happen, because we've had the discussion. We're covered.
We try to be that. We try to be our client's insurance department. We want to take over something that their time is better off doing what they do, focusing on what they're good at. And it's not going to be insurance, so we take it very seriously. We know that sending a certificate of insurance, if you're a contractor, means you're going to get paid. So we send it out quickly. We want to be that. We understand the importance of it. So so we can offer good products at a good price, but the service, the ongoing needs throughout the year are as equally as important, because we realize their time and what makes them money it grows when they're doing that.
Yes. And having a community where each business is an expert in their own field and they are going to bat for those they serve, whether it's businesses or individuals, I just think it makes a community more trustworthy. People are more trusting. People are more, as you said, have peace of mind that I don't have to worry about this. I know that they got my back, and I know that they're good at what they do and supporting that cause. I don't think people have a problem supporting causes. I just think people are hungry for genuineness. They are hungry for authenticity, something that makes them feel human. I think a lot of businesses have to go through that shift post-COVID, especially post-COVID, to make their outreach, their service have that humanness and not just a voice recorded message.
Absolutely.
Do you mind if I piggyback on that for a second?
Sure.
I think there's a shift going on in this world of, we've gotten so far one way with artificial intelligence. I mean, think about when you make a phone call for customer service, representative. And I just had a personal experience with Yelp. I'm finally trying to get myself out there, and I had a wonderful review, and this artificial intelligence flags it as a non-trustworthy review. So I talked to a person, and I said, you're going the wrong way. We've got people who are willing to spend their time to write a review, and now your artificial intelligence is flagging it. You can automate so much until it takes away the human interaction, and we're missing that. And I think people are now craving that so bad, because we've been starved of that for so long.
The human element.
The human element,
everything.
for sure.
Absolutely. And if we go the extra mile, a little bit extra from our end to just ensure our clients are okay, just checking in on them, I think that just makes a world of difference. And yes, of course, we are going to be a long-term caregiver in whatever industry, whether it's marketing, insurance, right, or the therapy. But checking in also makes a big difference for the individual, knowing, hey, they thought of me. They didn't have to, but they did. Yeah. And I think that just builds a sweeter community to live in.
I love seeing the examples when people share on their social media about a company, and I'm going to name drop Chewy. You lose a pet, and they find out, not only do they say, don't worry about returning that food that just arrived, that was on auto ship, they also go out of their way, and they sent me hand-painted portraits of my dogs that they mailed out with a very sweet condolences from
That's
Chewy.
amazing.
It's unbelievable. I mean, who
touch.
wouldn't want to stay with that to order
Of course.
for
Certainly.
their pets?
Huge.
Absolutely.
Talk about the opposite extreme. You have Chewy that does that, and you have Yelp that I never recommend anybody use on a small business side. That flags somebody that wrote a good review for you. Are you joking
But
me?
we'll on the same breath, we'll tell you how their system that has a billion things that it looks at is working. I said, well, I'm telling you, it's not.
Bottom line, it comes down to caring.
Yes.
Caring about taking care of people, caring about serving others, caring about each other. And we have lost that. And we gotta get back to that.
And that is something with the new business. It's called Imagine Next Gen Institute of Excellence. That is the social change we are looking at making in the long run. If I see it in my lifetime, I'll be very lucky. But changes like that take time and effort, education, awareness. And that is something we are working towards. And we look forward to serving the community with that.
In addition to what you were saying, Irene, you said it's about caring. But I think one more step of that is we don't know the needs to fulfill until we stop and listen to what the needs are. And listening is another art that's been lost. People listen to respond, be keyboard warriors versus listening to understand what is the need that we need to fulfill.
Unfortunately, many scenarios we have forgotten what understand means. We think we hear the words and we understand because we take the words and put it in our own context. But that's not the message many times. I think that's what you mentioned is the foundation of what I learned from my parents about understanding people. Many times people don't want anything but a ear to listen. Somebody who listens and says, I see you, I hear you, I understand you, and I'm honored you shared with me. And I'm excited about the work we will do with Imagine Next Gen. Because that's the essence of keeping my parents alive with me.
That's right.
Really cool.
So.
We have only a few minutes left. Can you believe we've been talking for almost an hour?
No, this has been great. So effortless and so rewarding. So
I love what you said about people need to be understood. That's all they want is to be heard and understood. It's one of the reasons we take a lot of clients through with their teams is the values exercise that we did with you, Irene, and the DISC assessment. Understanding your team and connecting with your even your family in the love languages that they
understand, they communicate.
That's the way they like. It's gonna be a huge shift. It's the reason we do it because that's all they need and want. Yep. It's cool that you have two of your children, right? Is that you have your children working with you, which then just gonna build the family side of things, on both personal and professionally.
And actually, those exercises have helped me understand my team, but especially, with my children, because I have them at work, I have them at home, and it allows me to shift some of the ways that I communicate and approach them. So
because we want to be communicated the way we like to be communicated or loved the way we need. That doesn't mean they need that.
Sure. It's a good reminder to get yourself out of your own head and try and see things from a different outlook.
I know. Well, we are out of time. So before we end, I would love to have you tell everybody how they can reach you. So website's probably good, or LinkedIn, spell out your name, either one. So Jesse, I'll start with you.
All right. So if you are interested in either being a part of our volunteer family or spend a day or an overnight at the guest house or in any way, shape, or form, you can reach out to us at happyhoovesaz.org. There are forms to fill out to sign up to be a volunteer, to book the guest house, to book an Airbnb experience. And we will be coming out with adventures soon that is a hybrid of a little of both. So we're continuing to grow. The family keeps growing, and reach out. Also, phone number is 602-332-5192.
Oh, I love that. I'm so excited that you're here in town doing that. This is like, all the combinations.
And we are conveniently located off Greenway and the 51, so we're not out too far in the sticks.
That's exciting.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Jay.
So the best way to reach me, I would say, is call or text. My number is 480-242-8506. And if you want to connect on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a great platform to connect. You can look for JAYASHRI space SARKAR. That's my LinkedIn profile.
Well, if we can be of service for any individuals or business owners, we can be reached at 480-656-1036. And our website is Indie, that's INDIE insurance.com.
I loved having you all on today. Thank you for joining us on Collaborative Connections Radio Show and Podcast, sponsored by KLM. Do what you love and outsource everything else. Until next time, happy connecting.
Thank you,
Thank
Kelly.
you so
Thank you for
much.
having
Thank
us.
you, Kelly.